This edition of MacVoices is supported by SaneBox. Organize your inbox and never waste time on email again. Sign up today at sanebox.com/MacVoices to save $25 on any subscription. This edition of MacVoices is supported by TextExpander by Smile, the makers of world-class software. Visit textexpander.com/podcast to learn more and download your free demo. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, about 11 or 12 hours after Apple released the AirPods Pro Max, we convened a MacVoices live panel to kick around the announcement, see what people's reactions were. And to say that they were surprising puts it mildly. That was in the first part of this particular MacVoices Live. This is the continuation of that discussion, and we finish that up, get into some discussions of Siri, Apple's Fitness Plus that's coming out shortly, and a few other things. So let's go right back to the panel.
Yeah, again, it goes back to bad marketing. As Oliver was saying, they just they seem divorced and they just put this thing out there. I could imagine Steve Jobs, and maybe this is a little unfair, and maybe it's COVID time, so that may be holding behind their back. But they really should have driven home why this thing is going to be such a kick-ass audio experience. I don't know that to be the case. I'm assuming that it will sound really good. So they really should have done that, because I could imagine Jobs having things up there and taking stabs at Bose or Sony or a lot of the other headphone companies. But here it's just out there, and like Oliver said, presumably this is play for music so that people will be able to buy it and use it. Echoing on, I think, something underlying what Kelly and Frank were talking about of using this thing wired. You can't use iPad for editing video because there's too much latency through your any sort of device. So maybe they engineer this as backdoor so that if you get this and that dongle and light a candle and kill a rooster on the right phase of the moon and plug it in together, that you may be able to do it with low latency so that you could actually edit audio or even watch and enjoy audio together. But
okay. So let me jump in here a second, because there's a lot of points going here that I want to touch on. First off, nobody has to buy these things,
right?
Okay, so that just right away. I mean, if it's not your thing, then it's not your thing. Second, are these the oh good Lord, the Apple Gold Watch of headphones?
That's what I'm wondering, because
if they are, that's fine.
Right.
That's fine. And frankly, Apple may have proven the point because they're already sold out. Now, what does sold out mean?
Exactly.
We have no idea whether they had 5 to sell or 500 to sell. But at the end of the day, they're sold out, and there are people back ordering pre-ordering them right now. I think Mark. Let me finish, Kelly, and then I'll turn to you. Mark keeps bringing up the technology, and I think that's a great point. We're here. We're arguing in a vacuum because none of us have heard these things. But, and Mark, you're right about the latency, but I don't for a second believe that these were ever intended for podcast editing or even audio editing. I think these are strictly enjoyment things. But I also think that there's something to be said for that. That almost unbranded guide, the no Apple logo on them, that in itself is going to become a status symbol. Just like the Beats logo and the Beats thing became a status symbol. So if you've got these things, then everybody's going to kind of know that, no Apple, right, no logo, so it's got to be an Apple, because everybody else slaps the logo all over the place.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, go.
So your first point was, if they're not for you, you don't have to buy them. And that is entirely valid. However, usually, because you are correct, but usually, even if it's not for me, I can see who it's for, right? So I can see who the $5,000 monitor is for. It's not me, but I see who the people are that have a need for it, what it is they need to do, how they can accomplish it, and how this hardware will achieve that end. I can see that. I can see how the Mac Pro and its $700 wheels is the right tool for the job. depending on what the job is, right? Like I can see, maybe it's not my job, but I can see the job where that's the machine that you want to have for it. I can see all these things. Like I don't have a MacBook Air. I'm not going to have a MacBook Air. I absolutely think there's a place for it in Apple's lineup. It's a great machine. I'm glad it exists, but it's not for me. I'm not going to ever buy one, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. These, I'm not saying they shouldn't exist, but I can't find the person they're for. That's the problem. Like whoever sat around and went, I really love these $200 headphones or these $300 headphones, but you know what they're missing? I didn't pay nearly enough for them, and they don't have the little knobby on them like my watch.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Like,
I really miss it, John.
This is the thing. So Chuck, like I 100% agree with you. Like if they're not for you, you don't have to buy them. But at the same time, I don't know who the person is that is supposed to.
So Kelly, are we in agreement that Apple did a bad job of marketing and rolling this thing out?
No, because that would mean I agree with you, Mark, and I never agree with you.
As a scientist, did they do a good enough job? Completely depends on what is your metric. If your metric is they sold out, they did a fine job.
They did an amazing job.
I don't understand the project. They did a poor, with the product, they did a poor job. Like operationally define your parameters, then you know if it's successful.
Okay, so Kelly,
Oliver has a crush on Brittany right now because that was a really awesome assessment.
Okay, so Kelly, who really needs a Ferrari Testarossa? Who really needs?
Do you really want me to answer that?
All right,
I do.
No,
maybe you got one you're giving away.
but I mean,
you picked the car that if I had all the money in the world, that is the car that I would buy.
Right, but you just said
one
you
car.
But how many people need that? We can go through with a million products here. That I mean, have you been to CES? Have you seen these
Chuck,
$500,000 sound systems?
I saw you at CES the year as I went to CES.
Yes. That was a rhetorical, but the point is that there are a million products out there that none of us are ever going to be able to afford, even if we do get the lottery.
But
and so
Apple's not the company that does that generally, is what I'm saying.
What's the pot that week?
There's that.
Okay, so they're testing the waters.
So, and that's what, and if that's what it is we just decided we'd make some stupid expensive headphones and put a watch knobby on the side, for fun. I think that's a ridiculous move, but it's an expensive, ridiculous move and not an iPod sock funny kind of ridiculous move.
I was just thinking iPod socks.
Yeah, they're going to make AirPod socks, so you have one for each earphone in case you don't like carrying them around in the bra case.
In different colors.
Yes.
I bought those.
I have some. Somebody gave them to me, but I have them.
Okay.
No, Frank has bras too. We don't judge him for his life choices.
Okay.
I don't make many choices.
Mark, why did the watch watch crown bother you so much? Because now I've looked at the description of it and I thought, you know what, that's not kind of a bad idea, because I know the controls I have on some of the headphones that have controls are not always completely intuitive.
I'm just
a possibility.
I'm just yanking people's chain because I remember John Ivey talking about the crown on the Apple Watch in the video years ago, and I was thinking that's what they missed here. They should have talked about how they didn't just take it; they re-engineered it and optimized it and made a brand new metal alloy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just
it's the thinnest, lightest watch knob ever on a headphone.
Right.
And then put somebody behind a white background. That's all they had to do.
Are you sure that they
colors pop?
Are you sure that the company still has that kind of thought process and not like, what can we do to make more money?
I'm not, Oliver, that's a very good question because
can we make a superior product? Or is it just, what kind of product didn't we do yet and we can do to make people give us more money?
Can it be both? They did just release groundbreaking Macs. It's only been a few weeks.
Well, they are cheaper than the other ones. So that's, maybe
that too. Yeah.
Maybe a fraction inside Apple that's more socialist and capitalist, and
they can all be capitalist.
So,
but their business model can be that they want to make good products.
I don't think anyone is saying that it's not a good product. I mean, we don't necessarily know, but I can't see Apple releasing headphones, regardless. I mean, throw out the price, not even talking about the price, to make headphones like this that weren't good headphones.
Right.
I think the problem that most people that are talking about this is trying to wrap their heads around, why are these $500? Why don't they have an Apple logo? How does this fit in with all of my other Apple products?
So can I quote? Can I be a curmudgeon here and quote
as compared to?
Okay,
how is that new, Mark?
Once
all right.
You want to be like Guy?
Go ahead, Mark.
Once upon a time, the Jeff Bezos of his age, J.P. Morgan, who was the richest man in the world, he's reputed to have said, if you have to ask how much it costs, you can't afford it. So I would paraphrase that relative to the AirPods Max, that if you have to ask who they're for, they're not for you. And I don't know if that's not really curmudgeonly, but that's Zen-esque.
Well, let's talk about the other thing they released today, or that they announced today, which is a thing that I'm absolutely paying for that nobody's talking about, and that's Fitness Plus. They finally announced it. It's coming out next week. It's $80 for an entire year, and I am here for it.
Why? Wait a minute. Why? Why are you so excited over that, and yet you are insulted over why would you pay $80 for something that you can get on YouTube? And I'm sorry, Apple, but this one just blows me away.
It is literally the only subscription they have other than my iCloud storage that I think is worth a dime.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Number one, I have not found a YouTube like exercise workout video situation that I have enjoyed. And that's like pre-recorded, right? It's like back in the day, if you are of a particular vintage, you might remember buying VHS tapes with like Jane Fonda and Richard Simmons and like workout, and every time
of steel
people.
Yeah. And every time you put every time you put in the jazzercise videotape, it's exactly the same workout with exactly the same. You can do it in exactly the same place every time because it's tape. YouTube is basically the same thing because I'm not paying YouTube any money for whatever kind of subscription they're trying to shove me down my account this week. I'm not doing it. So I haven't found a YouTube solution to this that I enjoy. Number two, it's going to totally work with my watch, and it'll be on whatever screen I feel like, and it'll hook into like the workout stuff that I already do because I'm already invested in the ecosystem on my watch that tells me to stand up at 10 to the hour, that tells me I really need to, get up and do my X amount of workout every day and hit the calorie goal and close all my rings. Like, I'm into that. It's a thing that I take kind of seriously. So I'm also into that. And additionally, Chuck, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's like all kinds of 2020 outside. And I can't go anywhere anymore. So if I have to stay home for the next year, and it looks like I have to, then at least I still get to work out. Plus, if I were a person who was paying for a gym, and I have been in the past a person who pays for a gym, I am paying almost $80 a month for gym privileges. More. It can be more. Well, yeah, I wasn't paying for like the pool and the multi-club access and any of that kind of stuff. So I think the last time I paid for a gym, I think I was paying $50 a month. So if I can go lattes. So if I can go from $50 a month to $80 a year, like that's a massive upgrade, especially since the gym, like if I were a gym goer, the gym is probably shit or about to be because I live in the United States. So I'm super into this plan. I think it's going to be great, and I'm absolutely going to buy it, and I think it's going to be awesome. And I will tell you all about it once I'm all hooked up.
Well, you won't necessarily have to buy it if you have the big Apple $29 a month subscription to all their different services.
Yeah,
it's included.
I don't have enough stuff to make that make sense, so I'm just paying the $80 for the year and calling it good.
Well, it works for me because my wife and my two kids and probably one of their ex-girlfriends are currently on it. So
yeah, I don't have that many people, so it doesn't pencil out at my house. So otherwise we did the math and it doesn't work for me. So yeah, I'm not going to.
I'm really curious.
It's not for people.
I'm really curious to hear what you say about it in 5 or 6 months' time, because looking at Apple TV Plus, I'm not very confident that the amount of content is gonna be that much better than what you described with the videotapes.
It's gone. We've used it all up. Yeah.
Well, one thing about Apple TV Plus, though, to be fair, is lockdown. That a lot of production got interrupted, and I'm not making excuses. I'm giving a potential reason, because
but they're still releasing stuff.
They're still releasing some stuff. Yeah. And they're slowly getting back up to speed, but some of the hit shows that they had, production stopped on them, even though 2 and 3 seasons had been ordered. Mm-hmm. So, but unfortunately, Oliver, I know what you mean, because it does concern me just a little bit that there've been a number of things that initiatives that Apple has launched, and then they never seem to do follow-up. And I'm thinking specifically about some of the GarageBand, what do they call them? The GarageBand
lessons.
With piano and guitar.
Yeah.
And drums.
So, and look, some of that stuff I understand why it would be difficult to keep it up. But I do hope that this is something that, that is a flaw that has been corrected.
I don't think they're comparable.
I don't know what day and A problem they have with that, but I just noticed that the Mac Pro they announced last year with we're gonna have a modular computer and it's always gonna be greatest, hasn't been updated in a year, and I would have
I think we know why.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think that's the reason, because just updating the graphics cards and to the latest stuff wouldn't be that much of a problem. But they did the same thing for the old Mac Pros. They announced the modular design with you can plug stuff in, and then they never ever made anything. Yep. So I don't know. There seems to be some DNA problem there. It's like they like to do new things much better than they like to keep updating and.
Well, I think with
improving stuff
with Apple TV Plus, the thing that you have to remember is that everything that you see on Apple TV Plus is brand new to the world content. They're not repurposing content like Netflix. They're not repurposing content like Disney Plus or Hulu. This is all brand new stuff. Everything that you see on Apple TV has never been seen anywhere before. And that's probably part of the reason why they priced it so low, was because they knew that they weren't going to be able to get out the amount of content that someone like Netflix, who just goes out and licenses, the entire Fox network of TV and movies and just throws them up on the wall to see what sticks. As far as Fitness Plus goes, I don't think that's really comparable to the GarageBand lessons, because the GarageBand lessons were a hook to try to get people interested in GarageBand and Logic, as compared to actually trying to teach somebody how to play guitar or play the piano. So Fitness Plus, because it ties in, and like Kelly was saying, it ties in with the watch, it ties in with your phone, it ties in with some of the other services that Apple has. It's a hook to get you to become more interested in other products that Apple has. And that's kind of the nexus of what Apple has been doing for the last few years. Everything ties into everything else, with the exception, I think, of the HomePod and the HomePod Mini, and now these headphones. There doesn't seem to be an overlying hook between these products and other things that Apple does. So what is the end game for something like these headphones? Is there something that is coming down the road that we're not aware of yet that this is going to hook into? And it's not Fitness Plus. It's not Apple TV Plus. I don't think it's anything that we currently know about.
MacVoices is supported by SaneBox. Organize your inbox and never waste time on email again. Your email is a real problem, right? You don't have time to learn any of those email practices that are supposed to help you be more efficient. You are too busy dealing with the flood and just trying to keep your head above water. If that describes your situation, then you need SaneBox. The ninjas at SaneBox have a service that will not only help you clean up that insane inbox, but also keep what comes in next in check. And it's a piece of cake to set up because it works at the server level to filter your emails into those that are important and those that aren't so important. The former go to your inbox as usual. The latter gets sent to the Sane Later folder where you can review and work on them later. Have someone constantly sending you emails even though you've hit that unsubscribe button a dozen times? Use the Sane Black Hole feature to be sure that you never hear from them again, no matter how many emails they send you. Or stop being interrupted by those incoming emails by using the Do Not Disturb feature so that your email is held temporarily, and you can actually get something done. There's a lot more to SaneBox to help you get control of your email, so don't delay. Organize your inbox and never waste time on email again with SaneBox. Visit sanebox.com/MacVoices and sign up today to get a $25 discount on any subscription. That's $25 off any SaneBox subscription at sanebox.com/MacVoices. Do it today and get control of your email at sanebox.com/MacVoices. Thanks to SaneBox for their support of MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by Smile, the makers of TextExpander, my most used utility on my Mac. I keep finding new uses for TextExpander. Text that I type repeatedly is a prime candidate, obviously, but there are other things. Chat room names that can't be saved in a program, but that I want to visit regularly. Even URLs of frequently used websites are a piece of cake with TextExpander. And that's just for me as an individual. If you have a team that offers support or interfaces with anyone outside your organization, or even internal customers, TextExpander helps you keep responses consistent, concise, and easy to access. If you value accuracy, and who doesn't, and you find yourself regularly misspelling a word, a name, or something else, set up a TextExpander snippet to automatically correct it. Fill out forms, select responses to a query from a menu. The options go on and on. And if you want to get more out of TextExpander, be sure to head over to textexpander.com and see all the training and tips and tricks that they offer. That will help you go from beginner to intermediate to advanced as your TextExpander knowledge grows. You should be using TextExpander, period. So do yourself a favor and visit textexpander.com/podcast to pick up a free demo of TextExpander and find out what I know and what so many productivity-oriented people know, that TextExpander is an essential utility for getting things done. That's TextExpander by Smile, the makers of world-class software. Find out more at textexpander.com/podcast. Thanks to Smile and to TextExpander for their ongoing support of MacVoices.
It may be that, but to Oliver's point, it seems to me that over the past couple of years that Apple has been concentrating on all sorts of exit ramps or switching points into its ecosystem, and
it's a shotgun approach.
Okay, you call it that, but I think for a while, quality audio has been part of it. Now, I think Apple probably got caught a little flat-footed by the popularity of the Alexa assistant on cheap, crappy sound or mediocre sound, average sound devices. I think that's why they had been planning this super high-end, let's change the world sort of device with their HomePod, and then they announced earlier this year the HomePod Mini. They came out there, the iPods, earpods, were a big success, and they've diversified that product line. And there's been a lot of people who I think, for whatever reason, want an Apple device, because the knock I hear on the Beats headphones is that, again, they don't have a neutral frequency response, that they unnaturally boost the bass, and that bothers a lot of people. So I think what they're doing is they're just plugging in different holes in our digital ecosystem and tying it all together in their environment. Now, they may have a lot of great stuff in the future, or they may not. Only time will tell. Let's meet in 2 years or 3 years and then review what happens. But
Chuck is doing a show next week, so we have to hurry on that.
Well, I think part of what you said is right, but like you said, the HomePod and the HomePod Mini don't have a hook, but I think they are sidekick devices to what the way the AirPods are. Like before today, when all we had was the AirPods like you're wearing. The reason I think that they're a sidekick is because the nice thing about an AirPod is that it's a complementary product. Like if you want to go running without your phone, you can use your watch and still listen to podcasts or music or whatever you want to listen to, and not take your watch and not take your phone with you, because you can do that with your watch and your AirPods. You can't do it with just your watch. Your watch doesn't have a big old speaker to just blare out noise at you.
Thank
God. You can listen. Right. So you can listen with your AirPods and your watch, and that's like a complementary product to your watch. It's a complementary product to your phone because it connects in a snap. You can still boss your phone around. I guess like if you're not Oliver, you can boss your phone around and she'll understand you and she'll take your dictation and do all the stuff that you want her to do from your headphones. And like I said, with the newer ones, you don't even have to tap the side of them. You can just say, hey lady, and she'll do the thing that you're asking her to do. And when you connect them to your Mac, the same thing. You can connect them to your Apple TV and you can be the only one listening and not have to bother somebody who might be not watching the same TV show that you're watching and doesn't want to listen to it since they're not watching it with you, whatever. So I think those are a complementary product, and the complementary product that they're trying to get to with the HomePods is the S lady, and they're trying to make her useful when you don't have your phone, when you don't have when you don't have a screen in front of you. Now, we can spend a bunch of time, and I've probably, Chuck, spent a bunch of time with you talking about how Amazon designed a voice assistant that never had a screen, was never meant to have a screen, and was never meant to interact with on a screen. And then they took that voice-only assistant and put it in a speaker. Apple took the thing that they designed for you to interact with on your phone, because remember, we got the S lady with the 4S. The S stood for her name, and you could ask her a question, and you could interact with what was happening on the screen. She would pull up the web results for you to look at, or she would pull up the app that you wanted to see, or whatever it was. It was meant to be a different way to interact with your phone than having to lay your hands on it. And so when they took that, which was primarily a screen-based assistant, and then took the screen away, we had some hurdles. So that's why, I think that's part of what the HomePod is supposed to start being able to do, is be able to help make her more of a voice-only assistant. That's why it never felt like she was competition for the A-Lady, because the A-Lady was always meant to be voice only. You could never see what the A-Lady was trying to tell you. But Oliver, I want to ask you for a second about TV Plus, because the thing that I think is the most interesting about TV Plus is that it's the same for everybody, no matter where in the world you are.
And so no one else can do that.
Yeah, you get to see all the same stuff that I get to see. So like right now, you and I could be watching some show, at the same time.
Tehran, great show. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, I like the original content, but I think it's not enough for the subscription pricing for me. So I have there's 2 shows I like on that thing, and it feels like they pace them and they time them so that if I want to keep watching those 2 shows, I have to renew my subscription. So yeah, I'm probably getting enough Apple devices over the next couple of years to always be on the free plan. But that's and interestingly, Netflix is very different over here, because we almost only get Netflix original content,
right?
And there's a lot of that, and it's so much that you can miss stuff. So and in Apple TV Plus, it's like I'm every couple of weeks I'm tuning into Apple TV Plus, and I'm like, is there anything new? And every now and then there's something I would like to see, but most of the time it's like, okay, maybe, nothing that really grabs the attention. And so I'm like,
see, Oliver,
they're throwing a lot of money at that, so.
I had you pegged as a real big Snoopy and Space fan.
Yeah. Well,
But that was it. You've watched it and now you're done, right? No.
I watched it like 50 years ago or something when it came out.
So March.
Christmas is coming.
So yeah, February. Yeah. Like I feel like relatively there's a lot of stuff on Apple TV because like you can hear me back on earlier episodes of Daily Observations when we were talking about we heard Apple's going to launch a TV service. You know, what happens when you get to the end of it? Like they don't have enough content to compete in a world where Netflix can literally stream for the rest of your life and you're never going to see everything there. So I think it feels like they've done a really good job of having a lot of content. Do I want to watch all of it? No. But it seems like there's at least a lot of stuff there so I can sample and still find something that I like and haven't seen yet because it's not the primary thing that I'm watching. So that's why I was wondering what it was like there.
We're going to run out of time, but I did want to argue with Kelly on one point, and then we'll go around the room and just one.
Right.
I think you're doing a little bit of selective reasoning or selective analysis based on what you like, because I see the HomePod, the HomePod Mini, the AirPods, the way the thing it plugs into is Apple Music. And, you know, and the voice commands of Apple Music. I mean, look, Siri may not be as good as some of the others. And I feel obligated to point out the security issues that, you know, Apple's a lot more private than some of the others. But I can pretty darn flawlessly tell my HomePods, better be careful, they'll start playing something, to play this particular track, this particular album, this particular artist, and I get it. And so I think, you know, they have built out an audio ecosystem. This is a new entry. We still have a lot of questions about it, but I think it makes perfect sense. The only thing that doesn't make sense, and I'm not immune to the idea that these may be just a little pricey and pricing a lot of people out. But I don't think that these are just, some of those products are just things thrown out to see what happens. I think they all build into the ecosystem.
That was Guy. I didn't say they were just thrown out there. I said that the S Lady was the hook that made the HomePod like a complementary device. But the reason that she doesn't compete for a lot of people with the A Lady device they may have or may want is because she did not start life as a screenless assistant. So she had hurdles to overcome that the A Lady did not. Now, the thing about Fitness Plus, Chuck, that I don't know if you're seeing is that Apple is trying real hard to get a good solid foothold in the fitness space. That's why the Apple Watch keeps adding all the health stuff, and Fitness Plus is just an extension of that. Like now that you can track your workouts, you can pay us to give you those workouts. Like it just feels like the next step. It made complete sense to me when they announced it.
And they'll start automatically.
Yes, but it makes perfect sense, Kelly. I never said it didn't make perfect sense. The part that didn't for me, but see, it's the same thing with you with the headphones. The Fitness Plus for me doesn't. I don't find the value in it for me. Right. You don't find the value in the headphones for you. Right. There are some people here that didn't find the value in the HomePods for them. Right. Ken Ray and I just talked about this and on his in a few minutes. You know, we all start to say, if it doesn't apply to me, then it's terrible. And that's not the case.
No. Yeah.
That's not the case.
Well, like I said before, like I can see where everything else that Apple makes right now, I can see who that's for. It's not for me, but that doesn't mean I can't tell who it's for. And that's the problem that I'm having with these headphones is who they're for. So that's my primary question.
And as I do my math, we are about 12 hours after the release of the press release. And we're all running rampant discussing this stuff. So, this
is only my third podcast about it today.
Yeah. See, so, you know, I think we need,
you're an underachiever.
We need to get these things in the hands of people. And then we will have some of our answers, maybe not all, but some. Mm-hmm. We're out of time. I want to make sure, though, that folks know where they can find you when you're not here. So I'm just going to try to keep the basically same order, unless you guys rearranged yourselves, which might have happened. So Oliver,
when you turned around and looked under your desk, we all traded spots.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Chinese fire.
I wish.
Oliver, where can folks find?
That'd be great.
Oliver, where can folks find you when you're not here?
Yeah, so these days I'm most active on our Boing's forums, so forum.boings.com, and all the interesting stuff is there.
Okay. Do you have any social media presences you want to plug, or
no?
We have to come into
That's like
no? Okay.
enough social media for.
Hey, thanks so much. Now it is now after 3. Thank you so much for staying up and being with us.
Yeah, you can find them on Facepoints.
This was a lot of fun. Oh man!
Careful with that guy.
Whoever anyone listening right now, don't look that up.
Yeah, no, don't look that up.
Probably not.
Frank, where can folks find you? Frank's where can folks find you?
Trying to figure out why my audio dissolved halfway through the show, so I'm behind the desk. But I have my own blog, ympnow.com. I do a monthly review for Screencasts Online. And I was going to mention, I was looking at Oliver's feed, and I kept looking at the clock because Chuck, your adversary, uses Oliver's software, and she always has that clock up. And I find myself staring at that thing.
Who's Chuck's adversary?
I didn't know Chuck had an adversy.
Oh, yes. It's a secret.
Oh, no.
Storm.
No, she's a nemesis. She's not an adversary. It's a different thing.
Okay.
Subtle.
But it's all.
It's not like I'm trying to get Chuck to use it for like the last 10 years or something.
Thank you, Oliver.
He might be able to end this show on time if he did.
That
Not with this group.
those thumps you heard were me being thrown under the bus. Kelly, where can we find you?
Okay. You can find me 5 days a week hosting the Mac Observer Daily Observations podcast over at macobserver.com. You can find me on the Incomparable Network talking about various things like Star Wars and sometimes shows on Apple TV Plus like Ted Lasso. You can also find me there with my own program, Greetings from the Uncanny Valley, which is a show about Westworld. I also have a podcast with Mike Rose where the two of us usually just make each other laugh for half an hour and record it. And that's called The After Show, which you can find at aftershowpodcast.com. And you can find me the rest of the time on Twitter as Verso.
Great. Thanks so much, Kelly. Even though you're wrong on a few things, thanks so much.
Well, so are you. It's fine. Everyone has a flaw.
Yeah. Mr. Fuccio, I know that you will be concocting another interesting background for your next appearance here, but until then, where can folks find you?
Yeah, well, I was inspired by this. Originally, I was going to do a human year diagram, but once I saw that you had released our Christmas gift guide show, in which I recommended 2 sets of the complete works of Beethoven because this is the 200th centenary of his death, I figured, well, there's only one thing. Poor old Ludwig van went deaf and had to use an ear horn for a little bit to try to augment his hearing. And I hear that is some of the things people do with some of the earpod devices. So best place to find me hanging out online is Twitter at Mark, MARK, And, with that, I look forward to seeing how the market reacts and what develops for, this device that we've talked about today.
Agreed. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Serle.
Yes, unlike everyone else, I'm never wrong. And you can find me over on the Twitters.
Wow.
I am either Mac Parrot or VertShark. VertShark.com is the website for all of the audios and the videos. VertShark on YouTube, the playlist, you can like, share, subscribe. It's so easy. Like, share, subscribe. I do other podcasts. I do the Mac to the Future podcast on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over there on the Facebooks and the YouTubes. I also do the mymac.com podcast with Mr. Gazmaz for the last 12 years. 12 years. And my latest odd project is driving in my car and saying stuff called Guy's Daily Drive, which I don't do every day, but I am driving, so 2 out of 3 isn't bad.
Hey, at least you're driving. That's something a lot of us aren't doing. So
we gotta start calling you Mr.
And driving
Humble.
is job one. Driving is job one.
Yes.
I don't compromise on that.
Thanks for being here, Guy.
Nice to be seen.
Somehow she always ends up last, but never least. Brittany, thanks for being here. Where can folks find you?
My website is conquer.consulting, where I help people get their work done, give them accountability, and help them with time management. And on Twitter, I'm the ADD Liberator.
Great.
No
Thanks so
time
much for
management
being
issues here.
No.
Well, no, Oliver's got the clock.
Yeah.
Oliver's managing everyone's time with that nifty clock. How do you put that clock up in the corner, Oliver?
Magic. Magic.
So are we Oliver's? Are we Oliver's?
Watch this, and it's gone. No.
No, it's still there. There we go.
Yeah, oh.
So it takes
So
two passes.
He's gonna wax it on and wax it off.
We're all part of Oliver's army.
Okay.
All right.
We're here to stay.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices Live. We do this every Tuesday night. And if you dare, come back and join us next time, because it's going to be at least as crazy as this. And until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.